It is time for the Inside Edge Hockey News Radio Show, your home for National Hockey League news, information, and opinions. It is an exciting and often controversial approach to the great game of hockey. Get ready for breakdowns of current hockey topics. It's a no-holds-barred approach to happenings throughout the hockey world. And now, your host from Inside Edge Hockey News, Brad Burud.
Left, has a look around, stops up to Tavares, scores! Wicked backhander. Tavares set up by Mitch Marner. Leafs win 4-3.
It is time for the Inside Edge Hockey News Radio Show, episode 16, recorded on February 10th, 2019. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud, and welcome. We are getting closer and closer to NHL trade deadline every day. We are just exactly 2 weeks out. This is one of the most exciting times of the National Hockey League season. Everybody's trying to add that extra piece to make themselves a cup contender. Who are the teams that are actually selling, though? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the sellers, and the kind of sellers. And that's kind of where the league sits with the way the standings are, especially in that Western Conference, where there's a lot of teams vying for that wild card position, the final two wild cards. Then we're going to talk about the website Inside Edge Hockey News, tell you a little bit about it. We've never really done that on the show. Today will be a little bit longer on that part of it than we usually do. And then every radio show at the end, we're going to tell you what's new about the website and what you should check out on the website. That's where it kind of all got started, was the website, and it's kind of transformed into these podcasts. So we'll let you know what's happening on Inside Edge Hockey News. And then we're going to go into a poll that I had out on Facebook last week. Well, I guess over the weekend more, so it would be a better way of putting it. And that was, what 5 teams are on your NHL no-trade list? If you were an NHL hockey player, what 5 teams would you jot down as destinations that you would not want to go to? Always a fun, interesting topic. Big thank you goes out to our sponsor, Hockey Community. If you're looking for a pickup hockey game, someone to play hockey with, somewhere to buy used hockey equipment, a tournament, Hockey Community has it all. It is a social networking website for the hockey players. Check out hockeycommunity.com, and we thank them for their sponsorship.
Hockey Community, a social media website dedicated just for hockey. It's a one-stop shop in searching for games, players, stick and puck, tournaments, and yes, goalies.
With trade deadline just 2 weeks away from today, it is time to determine who are the sellers and who are the not, like on the borderline. So I broke it out into who are the teams selling for sure, the big sellers. And then I got the minor sellers. These are teams that will probably be busy. But with the way the Western Conference and how close so many teams are and fighting into that wild card spot, it's changed things right now. We're going to see a lot change over this week, I think. And then on into next week. But let's talk the 4 big teams that are clear sellers, and then the players that I think that will be on the market for those. That being Ottawa, number 1, Duchesne, Stone, and Dzingel. Dzingel and Duchesne will be gone for sure. I still, my gut tells me that Stone stays. Stone re-signs and becomes the man in Ottawa. I think that's what's going to happen there. On to the New York Rangers. I think we're going to see 2 for sure move, and that being Hayes and Zuccarello. I think there's an outside chance that Chris Kreider goes on the move. I know there's teams that are interested in him, and Calgary being one of those. I feel like that would be a good fit for Calgary, and I think a lot of teams are Kreider's what a lot of teams are looking for. It's not just Calgary. A lot of teams want that big body forward that Kreider is. Los Angeles is another team that's probably going to be selling bigger than anybody, and that being, it's been talked about already that Kovalchuk is out there. I just don't see a team taking Kovalchuk. I can't. I know Boston was big time on him in the offseason to sign him, and LA won that battle. I don't even think Boston would want him now. And if so, that LA is eating at least half of his contract. I don't see it happening. Dion Phaneuf is rumored to be the LA wants to get rid of him. I don't think anybody's going to give Dion another shot, especially at his salary. LA would have to eat part of it. I believe Ottawa's already eating part of it. So how many go-rounds can we go with Dion Phaneuf? Carl Hagelin rumored to go. I think a lot of teams would be knocking on the door for Hagelin. Tyler Toffoli, another forward that LA would probably be shopping, and he's one that I really think a lot of teams would like. And then Martinez on the back end is a guy that could go. I don't know. There's a lot of up in the air for LA. There's a lot of guys that I just don't know if anybody will take, but I see Hagelin, Toffoli going there. Anaheim is the last of the big four, and Silverberg and Del Zotto are kind of the two rumored to be on the move. Silverberg would be hot after. I think Montreal is a team that really wants him. Del Zotto, I'm just not sure where he's going to be the best fit at. Now, teams that are going to be minor sellers. Arizona, they could be moving Panik. New Jersey, Johansson, Lovejoy could be on the move. Florida, Brassard, I think he will get moved. Sheehan, I'm not sure where that one's going. I think Brassard will get moved, though. Philadelphia, I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're kind of in that mushy middle now, a lot of people believe. And Philadelphia is one of those teams that even if they're on the outside now, I still don't think I'd be sellers. I think they're moving in the right direction. I know it's crazy to say with how crappy they've been this year. I just don't think this is a team that should be selling off any assets right now. I think them getting rid of a Wayne Simmons, who's a UFA at the end of the year, could be feasible either way, depending on if they're going to make it or not make it. This week will determine a lot for the Philadelphia Flyers. Radko Gudas is another player mentioned on the move. The fifth team that I got in the minor sellers is a forced seller, and that's the Columbus. I don't think that they want to get rid of anybody, but this has been the controversy the last month on, what do you do? What do you do with Sergei Bobrovsky and Panarin? And I've went round and round about it. I've talked about it on another podcast called The Instigator. Blake and I have talked about it on the Debate Hockey podcast. Some guys say, you just keep them and you ride them out and you see what happens, and you have them they're your rentals, and you run them through the end of the year and you lose them for nothing, and you run that risk, but you run up at a cup run. I don't think Columbus is ready for a cup run. I don't think they're at all ready for a cup run. I think you got to get something for them. I think you got to move both these guys. Florida just seems like a destination that is a match made in heaven. Are they clearing space for one of them? Are they clearing space for two of them? Something's going on there, I feel. And I feel like that could be a landing spot. Top players. Let's talk about top players and who I think is the potential destination for each of them. The biggest talked about, Ottawa's Matt Duchene.
Duchene bats at it. Winds his way in. Matt Duchene in, fires. It goes off a leg. Rebound, score! Oh, what a play by Duchene to bat it by Stolars. And Ottawa's grabbed the lead.
No one, and he bats it out of the air and in. What a play by Matt Duchene.
Sweet hands from Matt Duchene.
Winnipeg keeps coming up as the front runner there. And boy, what would that do to a Jets team? They have the prospects. They have the draft pick to get him. I think what you're going to get from Matt Duchene is a first-round draft pick and a prospect. Winnipeg is willing to give up both for Matt Duchene. I think this could be their Stastny of last year. There's no way that he'll be able to re-sign there, but man, he just might be the guy that Winnipeg goes and gets. Wayne Simmons. I could see him either staying or going to Boston. A lot will be determined here in the next couple weeks. I mentioned Jakob Silfverberg landing in Montreal. Mark Stone, Calgary is the most talked about destination for him. But my gut tells me that Mark Stone doesn't go anywhere. He stays in Ottawa. Kevin Hayes, another guy rumored to go to Calgary. San Jose is like what I'm getting as the front runner there from the people I'm talking to. Kevin Hayes could be a good addition for those San Jose Sharks. New York Rangers, staying with them. Matt Zuccarello, Calgary just keeps coming up and coming up as a landing spot for Zuccarello. Everybody's got Calgary getting tons and tons and tons of players, and I don't know. I don't see it. They don't have a lot of open spots. I think a depth defenseman could land in Calgary, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to bring in a top 6 forward. I could see them bringing in a guy to take Frolik's spot and moving him down to the 4th line. They've been in talks for Panarin. They've been in talks for everybody. So we'll see what happens in Calgary there. Sergei Bobrovsky, I think he's going to Florida. I do. I think this is just going to happen. I think that's a home for him. Artemi Panarin. This one could get tricky. Well, Bobrovsky could get tricky too if he never doesn't give a list to the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's not going anywhere. They'll have him for the rest of the year, but that could even be an off-season destination for Bobrovsky. Panarin, 2 teams he could land, the Islanders or the Panthers. I think the Islanders is the most likely spot if he's dealt before deadline. They have cap room. They could really use him for a cup run. I can't believe I'm saying that the Islanders could be on a cup run, but I did pick them going to the playoffs, so I'm not totally lost my mind there. It's that one's going to be an interesting one. Teams are hovering on that border that I just don't think will be moving guys. Vancouver, Chicago, I don't think will be doing a whole lot. Arizona, I don't think will be doing a whole lot. Maybe Panic. Edmonton, I don't think they even dare to do anything because I don't think they're getting in the playoffs anyways. So maybe they'll be a seller. Who knows? Maybe Edmonton's the new seller. We talked to Los Angeles. We talked to Anaheim. Vancouver, I think, will stand pat. Colorado might be in. I think the 2 teams that I don't have pegged right now as sellers but could become sellers would be Colorado and Edmonton, I think. In the West, in the East, we kind of talked about it. We talked about New Jersey. We talked about Ottawa, Florida. Rangers, we know are. I don't think Philadelphia will be big sellers. Buffalo, I don't think will be a seller. And I don't think Carolina is going to be a seller at all. I think Ferland stays there. I think they just play him out for the rest of the year. That one will be interesting to see what happens there. Detroit, they're young. They're building more than they're selling. I don't know that they have a lot of pieces to sell off that people are going to be hot after. So it'll be interesting. The list of sellers has went up and then went back down. And I think the next 2 weeks will really, really change where we go with the sellers. I think, though, the most active team is going to be the Ottawa Senators. I think it's going to be a complete fire sale there. And I actually predict that this trade deadline will be a very busy trade deadline. And every time I say that, I usually jinx myself. But this is one where I think it sets up for a lot of teams to be going for it, which is a great thing if you're a fan. We will talk more about trade deadline when we record our show in 2 weeks. On the 21st, we're going to be recording the next episode of the Inside Edge Hockey News radio show, and we will dive deeper into the trade deadline picture. What teams are going to be sellers? Who are moves that are made already? And that's the week right before deadline. So that'll be a full show packed with deadline news.
Inside Edge Hockey News. Bringing you inside the game.
Let's talk about Inside Edge Hockey News, the website. That's where it all got started. And it's transformed into these podcasts and other things, from rankings to blog posts to, a little bit of everything on the website. I'll give you a little rundown of it, give you a little bit of a history so you can see where we're coming from and how we got to where we're at on these podcasts. Inside Edge Hockey News was started by me, Brad Burud, in 2010. I grew up playing hockey, enjoyed the sport of hockey, really, really started watching the NHL a lot in my teenage years, 86, 87, 88, and really got into it in the mid 90s to a new level. And then that's actually grown and grown and grown ever since then. I've always been opinionated on my hockey stuff. I try to study the game. I by no means am a hockey expert. I try to watch as much as I can. My wife probably would say I watch way too much, but I love it. I love watching hockey. I go to a lot of NHL games. I try to watch almost every single night, some teams or multiple games. I also love junior hockey. I have worked in broadcasting with junior hockey team as a color man for a North American Hockey League team. I really like watching young players develop and grow in the sport, and that's what it is. I mean, this hockey is a family. Hockey's a tight-knit family, and that's always what I've loved about this sport. In 2010, I was actually watching the Super Bowl. And in 2010, I was very active on social media. Wasn't what it is now, but I was active on a lot of hockey forums, talking with people, doing different things. It was suggested to me, hey, you should write some pieces for us. And I started out, I did a couple of pieces with the hockey writers and a little bit with Inside Hockey, and did some various things. It grew into, as I was watching the Super Bowl, I see a commercial about websites. And I thought, well, what better way to express my opinions and express what I love and talk with other hockey people out there than to have a website. I knew nothing about starting a website. It was a learning experience, trying to get it to look halfway decent, trying to put out content that was entertaining for the fans. It started out with a blog post, probably one a week, if that, trying to scramble to find graphics that were fine. I've always prided myself on every photo on there is a photo that I have paid permission with. I've worked with contracts with USA Today, Sports Images, and Getty Images, who I use now, and I always prided myself. I know a lot of websites out there are stealing stuff and putting pictures and stuff like that, and I try to go about it differently, and I always want to put out information that is as accurate as possible, opinionated, and have everything on the up and up on that side of it. In 2012, I was thrilled to gain NHL credentials and go to the NHL award show, and I just kind of growing from there with going to various NHL events. As the website stands now, last year, a little bit over a year ago, we started podcasting. It's growing into three shows: the Inside Edge Hockey News radio show, which you're listening to right now, the Debate Hockey podcast, which I do with a good friend, Blake Friars, and that's a fun show. That's our most popular show, and a show that's really in your face and a lot of fun. And then we do a show called The Instigator, which is a short show that I do. It's usually a rant about something that's got me fired up in the hockey world. That's a fun show. It's a good 10-minute listen. Put it in the car as you're driving, and that's a fun one. Then we started here recently NHL Power Rankings. I do those on usually try to put them on Wednesday, Thursdays, and kind of track where I feel teams are trending. We also have Inside Edge Hockey TV, where we post a lot of different NHL highlights that's updated nightly. We've also added on Inside Edge Hockey TV Audie James, who is a great NHL YouTuber. He's based out of Calgary. He does a lot of Flame stuff, but he does a lot of other NHL stuff, and it's good stuff. It's very, very entertaining YouTube videos. Check his site out, his section of our website. Great stuff from Audie James, a great addition to Inside Edge Hockey TV. And we also have those highlights that are posted every single night, along with the NHL game recap videos on our homepage. Every night after the games are over, about 4 or 5 hours after the game is completed, you'll get a condensed version of every NHL game. If you miss games that night, check on your favorite team. Check it out on our NHL game recap video. Right above that, as you're watching hockey or you're on our website, you can always see NHL scores up to date, up to the minute, goal scores up to the minute on our scoreboard ticker. We also work with hockey forums. Great website to interact with hockey fans. And that's kind of where I got my start, and I think forums are great. Check that part out on our website also. We also have NHL Newswire, where up to the second news articles from a variety of NHL sources come through onto the webpage, and you can find out what's happening with trades, injuries, everything right up to minute. We also track standing stats, player cards on our homepage. Of course, we're on every social media. We also have a shop where you can get NHL gear, Inside Edge Hockey News gear, great hockey-themed t-shirts from One Timer Hockey. That's an exclusive on our website. We also have ticket sources, so you can get your tickets to the game. And we also have some real cool NHL auction items that are on there via NHL.com, and that's always fun to bid on game-used stuff. Well, it's a lot. We've tried to grow this website. We're always open. Go to contact us on the webpage. and send us things you'd like added to the website. Tell us what you like, what you dislike. We want to know. We want your input. So always feel free to get a hold of us on the contact us at InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com. The future, where's it going to go? Wow, we hope to keep adding podcasts and keep doing this. It's a fun way to get and interact with the fans. We've had great results with the Debate Hockey podcast, and the Instigator's gone really well too. So we hope to grow that. We would like to add other podcasts from other sources. So if you have an NHL podcast and you want someone to help promote it with you, contact us at Inside Edge. We really want to work with great new podcasters out there in the National Hockey League. We also want to stay on the edge. Trends are really going towards videos and podcasts, and that's why we like having Audie James as part of the team now, and we like to grow that aspect too. It's fun. We thanks all the readers and listeners over the years for all the support. Inside Edge Hockey News has started out as a hobby for me, and it's kind of grown, and it's been a lot of fun. I hope to keep growing over the years, and always reach out to us. Tell us what you like, tell us what you dislike. And I'm sorry for the 3-minute long ad during this podcast, but I think it's important to know that there's more than just this podcast. And I don't know. I mean, I think a good website to get your NHL news. No, you're not going to compete with those Sportsnet or the NHL.com, and that's not at all what we're looking to do. We're trying to add our niche of opinions and our thoughts on what's happened in the National Hockey League and have a little bit of fun with it along the way. But check out InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com. Drop me a line, tweet me, email me, whatever you want to do. We want your input, and we thanks everybody for their support.
InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com, your inside source for interviews with players and members of the hockey world. InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com.
It's time for our listener question and poll part of the show. And this week I put a Facebook poll out and got amazing response. It was super, super fun one. Actually, probably my most fun poll I've done for the show. And the question was, what 5 teams would be on your no-trade list? If you were a National Hockey League player and you could put a no-trade list into your general manager, what 5 NHL teams would you put on it? The response was amazing. Through all of the responses I got, 30 of the 31 teams were mentioned. 1 team was not mentioned. You're not going to believe who the team was that no fan said they wouldn't go to. It's funny. The Vegas Golden Knights. Not 1 fan said they wouldn't go to Vegas. I guess that's not that hard to believe. Now, let's talk about the top 5. Florida took 5th place. A lot of people don't want to go to Florida. They were the 5th place in the vote getting. Number 4 was the Edmonton Oilers, which is crazy because you would think players would want to go there because Connor McDavid and stuff, but that team's in such disarray. Last week was probably almost an all-time low for the organization, and that's what the poll ran was over the weekend. That probably played a role in it. The number 3 team players our listeners don't want to go to is the Los Angeles Kings. I don't blame them. That team's got a lot of pieces to fill and a lot of changing to do over the next few years. The number 2, Arizona Coyotes. No surprise there. And the number 1 team that our listeners do not want to be traded to is the Ottawa Senators. And that's a team that we talked about all year this year as a team that's been in complete disarray, full of problems. Now I'm going to give you my 5, and I'm going to give you reasons behind my 5. The number 5 team that I would not want to go to is the Ottawa Senators. And it's like, I look at this as a business, and I don't want to work for a company whose ownership is unorganized and troublesome. And I think that's what you got with Melnyk in Ottawa. I don't think their direction is planned out well. I don't think they're operating the way they should in personnel and their direction of how they're going to handle the cap and what they can handle the cap. I don't even think they know what they can spend. They say they're going to spend to the cap in 24-25. Well, holy cow. That's a long ways away. They got arena issues. There's a lot of things that would lead me to not go there. My number 4 team on my list of teams on my no-trade list is the New Jersey Devils. And the reason I have the New Jersey Devils on there is because it's always been kind of a team that I've considered an outsider. Not talked about much. Boring hockey. Probably not a fair assessment. They've had some really good teams over the years. It's just a team that I just don't have a lot of emotion for. Not a lot of news about them. Not a lot of want to be in New Jersey. So they made the number 4 spot. Number 3 is Florida Panthers. And that is, if I ever had the luxury of playing in the National Hockey League, I want to play for a fan base that's great. And they are far from great. We've been watching, and I preface this with, I'm not trying to pick on the fans that are there now. It's just terrible, though. The fans that are there now are getting robbed. They should be playing in front of sold-out crowds. They've had some good teams. They've had some bad teams. That hasn't helped matters. But let's face it, Florida doesn't support this. Tampa Bay does fine, but the Florida Panthers never have and never will be supported like they should. I wouldn't want to go there single-handedly for that reason. Number 2 on my list is this same reason. It's the Arizona Coyotes. This team has had some good teams, and it still struggles. There's arena issues. We've been talking about arena issues for 10 years. Empty building, empty building, empty building. Lose millions, lose millions, lose millions. Players, if you don't want the salary, if you want the salary cap to go up, move this team. Hockey-related revenues, this is a financial drain in the league. Hell, the league owned this team for years. I don't want to go there. My number 1, though, is Carolina. I don't know the new ownership group. I just don't like their direction right now. Yes, they're winning hockey games, and they're shocking me on a nightly basis. And quite honestly, they're kind of a fun team to watch this year. I just don't think it'd be a fit for me. Too many changes. Maybe I'm too old school. When you're doing tours of the locker room, gone game days, and I've heard all kinds of crazy stories. I don't know. It wouldn't be for me. And I could not and would not do this silly dance after. But don't worry, Carolina fans. I'm not an NHL player, and I don't ever have the chance to have the luxury of making a no-trade list. But sure, it sure is fun as a fan to make that list. And it obviously was, because I got great response. And thank you for all of our people out on social media. We really, really appreciate the response. It was a fun one. It was my favorite question to ask. Vegas, you got to love it. You got to love that you didn't get put on a no-trade list by one fan that answered the poll. Congratulations, Vegas. A lot of fun. Thanks for everybody who participated. Enjoyed this week's hockey action. Check back in 2 weeks. We'll have a trade deadline show. A lot of fun. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Inside Edge Hockey News on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. Get connected.
Zaitsev's wrist shot deflected right on, they score! Willie Nylander ties the game seconds after the DeBrusque goal!
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Inside Edge Hockey News Radio Show. A big thanks goes out to our sponsors, Hockey Community. Check out InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com for all your hockey news, and follow us on all forms of social media. Tweet us your questions and comments at Inside Edge Hockey, and most importantly, download the Inside Edge Hockey News Radio Show on your favorite podcatcher. We are on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeart, YouTube, and Spotify. Thank you for listening, and enjoy this week's hockey action.
Boy, are these guys fun to watch.
Hello, he was flat.
Wow. That's a statement.
Another heartbreak in Boston for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Tired of calling or texting around looking for players for your hockey games? Upset that no one seems to respond to your email or even Facebook invites? Yeah, pretty frustrating, right? Lucky for you, there's Hockey Community, a social media website dedicated just for hockey. It's a one-stop shop in searching for games, players, stick and puck, tournaments, and yes, goalies. But there's more. As soon as you sign up, you will see every game and player updates within 50 kilometers of your location. Thanks to our innovative technology, rinks and leagues can connect their schedules to our site, and we'll show you what's happening around. Whether you want ice, roller, street hockey, or even floorball, you can connect with the sport anywhere you go and right from your pocket. Check out hockey-community.com now to see more.
Thanks for listening to the Inside Edge Hockey News Radio Show. We hope you'll pass along our website address, InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com, to your friends and colleagues. Check out the radio show archive on our website for previous radio shows. The website also features numerous articles, videos, and blog posts. This has been an Inside Edge Hockey News production. Join us next time for another entertaining edition of the Inside Edge Hockey News Radio Show.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.